Welcome back to Coffee with the Authors. I'm Mark Parsons. This is Wendelin Van Draanen. We are traditionally published authors. We're trying to help you decode the craft and business of writing. What we're going to talk about today is this kind of interesting, funny thing that happens. If you've been a writer for enough time, like about a week, you will hear people say some pretty goofy things.
When our son was young, he would start a story with, there was this guy.
There was this guy. Actually, there have been a lot of guys I travel a lot. Okay. And so I'm pretty disciplined about working when I'm traveling. It helps pass the time when you're in sardine class, or it just keeps your mind somewhere else. Very often I have my laptop open and I'm working on a story. And when someone on a plane or a train recognizes or asks me, they'll ask me, are you a teacher? And then it comes around to that I'm an author. And so they want to start talking, which is fine. I mean, I'm happy to talk to somebody, but what they want to say is that they have a book that they've been wanting to write, and they will then talk a lot, but they don't ever ask me any questions about what I write, where I'm published, anything about anything. And it's more just like a one-way conversation. So, and I was on this train once and there was a guy sitting next to me, and I finally said, look, I need to get back to work, because he just kept talking. I need to get back to work. And I'd be back into the scene and stuff, and he'd say something else to me. I tried to be polite. I tried to be polite like a dozen times. And finally I just said, please, I'm trying to kill off this character with a can of refried beans and I need to concentrate. So this was a train, not a plane. So he was able to get up and leave me to my, murderous thoughts. Murder by beans.
Murder by refried beans.
Right. It was Wendelin in the kitchen with refried beans.
It was Wendelin on a train with a can of refried beans.
Here's a real common one once they find out you're a writer, which is, oh, I'm going to write a book too as soon as I get time. Just like it's just, something I could do. And what I want to say is, what do you do for a living? And then they say, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a dentist, whatever. And then you say, well, I want to fill some cavities too, as soon as I get time. Or I want to try a multi-million-dollar business case in court. As soon as I get time, I'm going to get around to that someday. Someday I'm going to design a skyscraper. As soon as I get time. Like writing is not a craft. Like it's not an art form that
it's something anybody could do.
Right, without any practice.
Right.
It's really like saying, someday I'm going to buy a violin and play for the symphony. As soon as I get time.
Yeah. Another question that's really puts the author in a very awkward position is to have somebody ask you if you'll donate books, and they do that in front of other people. And it makes you feel like you have to say yes. I've learned to say, contact me at my website instead. But I was doing a school visit once, and the principal, in front of a whole bunch of people, came up to me, and this was not a paid engagement. I gave an opening speech for their reading night or something, and came up to me and asked me if I would donate like a series of books, and it just put me in this horrible, awkward position. And obviously they think that all authors are rich and that we can afford to donate some books to a school. And yes, we donate a lot of books to a lot of different places, but asking me in front of a whole bunch of other people, I mean, that's just awkward and embarrassing. So yeah, I wound up giving her books because,
Yeah, of course. This is kind of similar to Wendelin's guy on a plane experience. We were at a book signing somewhere in the Midwest. The guy came in and he actually sat down.
There was a table, 2 chairs for the author, 1 chair for the host, which was empty. And he chose that chair.
Right. He told me what he wrote. He wrote a very specific thing. He wrote military science fiction. And which is fine, and I've read quite a bit of that, and I'm familiar with that kind of subgenre. But then he proceeded to tell me his entire plot
And he went on for a few minutes and kind of told me, I said, that's fine. So what do you want to do with it? And he goes, well, I haven't had any luck yet. He just kind of shotgunned a bunch of queries. He didn't know what he was doing really business-wise. And then he went back to tell me about it. But there's this guy in the book and, you know, he can hover or whatever. And he went on and on and on. And I said, well, I have some ideas for you. Well, wait a minute. I haven't told you this part yet. It's like
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the thing about having somebody like that at a book signing who's telling you all this stuff, often there are people like on the outskirts, they're waiting for their turn to come up and talk to you. They want to talk to you about your book. And so how do you politely ask this person to move aside so people who are actually there for the reason that you're supposed to be there can come in?
So but I wanted to help him. I didn't want to say, hey, I'm sorry, I got to move on. I wanted to help this guy.
Right.
And so finally I tried to tell him what he should do with his manuscript. So finally I took out a pen. I said, here, write this down. Baen Books, B-A-E-N Books. They are probably the largest publisher in the United States of your specific type of kind of military science fiction. And then I said, thanks, we're good. But I was trying to tell him this for 10 minutes, but he just wanted to talk about his plot. It's like, dude, all I can really do, I can't help you with your plot. All I can really do is tell you, this is where I would send it.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
So, and I think when you've written a book and you want to get it out there, sometimes the author at the table at a book signing for their books is the person that you feel maybe would understand you because you have this story inside you, but it's just really not the appropriate. It's awkward for the author, I guess.
Yeah, and I want to help. It's like okay, I cannot.
That's why
help
we started
you.
this channel.
I know. I can't help you with your plot. I don't have 3 hours to listen to your detailed plot, but I can help you market that thing. If you would just take a breath and write some stuff down.
So sometimes you're at a book signing, strange things can happen, or you can offend people. You have no control over it. I was on tour for the Peach Rebellion, and I was at a bookstore, and this woman came up and she asked me what the book was about, and I described it to her, and she saw that it was published by Penguin Random House, and she kind of put it down like a hot potato and said, oh, they publish Spare. You know, the Prince Harry book, they publish Spare. And she had a British accent, so she wanted nothing to do with me anymore because my publisher was the same as this horrible book, Spare by Prince Harry. So I'm like, what do you do with that?
People will sometimes tell you that they would let you look at their manuscript, but they haven't copywritten it yet. They have to copyright it before they can send it to anybody, which, I mean, I'm fine to wait for them to copyright it, but that's absolutely not required, of course. And we've also had people that wanted us to sign an NDA before we would look at a manuscript. And again, that's one of those things, it doesn't protect you at all. Nobody goes around stealing unpublished manuscripts and then doing all the immense amount of work it takes to take an unpublished manuscript and beat it into shape and make it presentable and then querying it and finding an agent and put it on submission and trying to find an editor. And then the editor's going to have ideas about it that you know nothing about because you didn't write it. People don't do that. You cannot copyright an idea anyways. So don't worry about copyright. And for God's sakes, don't ever ask an author, well, you need to sign an NDA before I show you my manuscript. It's kind of like, well, better show it to somebody else. I don't know if I'm qualified to sign your NDA.
Yeah. So what has been the most embarrassing thing or the most surprising thing that you've experienced as a writer? Somebody asking you a question or putting you into an awkward situation? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear. We'd love some company there. So in the meantime, we'll see you next week. Dream big, work hard, don't give up.
Keep answering those goofy questions and keep writing.
Well, it is, because it gives you that feeling that you've gotten the story out, even though it's just in the ether.
It's in the ether.